Welcome to the Professional Chat. I am your host, Joanne Carr, and I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. Joining me today is Ohenaewa Akuffo. Ohenaewa Akuffo is an Olympian, world medalist, wrestler, judo black belt, professional speaker, stunt performer, and entrepreneur. Ohenaewa has been described as a trailblazer in the sport of wrestling and made Canadian history by being the first ever to win the senior national championships as a junior at the age of 17. Her notable achievements include Commonwealth Games gold medalist, World silver and bronze medalist, 2009 Brampton Hall of Fame inductee, Canadian Olympian, two times silver medalist at the Pan American Games, 10 times senior national champion. Ohenawa's life as a high performer was the best preparation for her current work in the film and television industry as a stunt performer. In all her endeavors, she has been able to combine her business degree and sport experience to continue accomplishing great things. Thank you so much and welcome, Ohenaewa.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Please tell me about some of your favorite Omega Alpha supplements.
All right. This one.
Resprit, wonderful
Yes.
supplement. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you use Resprit.
Okay, Resprit is one of my favorites. And if people don't know, it's for your lungs, is respiratory. It helps clean up this system. So I'm gonna show you how I specifically use this. So from the top, I normally take it in the mornings, and not every morning, depending on when I need it. And my naturopath, like we brought it on board because so being a high performance athlete, you have your team. So you always have your service providers that help you to perform. And so for every single supplement that I use, I look to see where does it help me to perform well. And so with this product, it's just when I'm about to get a cold, when something is coming up and my body's telling me that my one of my lines of defense is my respiratory system. If it's starting to get mucousy, all stuffy, that's my first game changer opportunity to work with. However, this was one of my tools that I used during the Olympics. So, little backstory, my Olympic Games were in Beijing, China, 2008. So, Beijing, China, 2008 was the Olympic Games. As you may or may not know, air quality in Beijing
Hmm.
was an opportunity area. And it was like, as an Olympian, and I wasn't even an Olympian yet, because that's what made me an Olympian. As like, a national team member, as like, just being a high performance athlete, you don't get to choose where your games are. You don't get to choose where your venues are. Wherever it gets bid, wherever it's going, that's where you plan to be. And so prior to the Olympic Games being in China, Beijing, China, we went as a team, like on a national team, we went probably 10 years in a row. Like every year we went to Beijing because one of the things you have to learn is you get to train and become the athlete that you are, but your environment is something that you have to train for also. Because at the end of the day, you can be training hard. I could be the best wrestler on the mat. But if I have food intolerance, food issues, and I get, let's say, a little gross diarrhea, I'm not performing the same way. If I can't breathe, if I get sick, like that's the biggest two things, injury and being sick, like water virus, like parasites, like you're weak. And your opponents are not there. Everybody brings their best game. You're the best in your country. You're going there with your best game to be the best in the world. So any little bit counts both ways. Any little bit counts to help you perform better. Any little bit can hurt you so you don't get the best performance. You can do all your training all year long. You can do all those parts, but if you don't take into account the environment, the things that you can control and things that you can't control. So the things you can't control when you get up in the morning that day, how you feel that day, you can put everything to place. But the things you can control is the environment. So as on the national team with Canada, we went to China, Beijing, China, or just China in general, 10 years straight prior to the Olympics. One of the things that you had to learn and deal with, and one of the things that happened was every time we went to China and we're training there, because we go either World Cup training camps, you're there for at least a week, like at least 5 days. Every single time you blow your nose, you see colors that you normally don't see at home. And so I knew, like, going, it was one of the things I had to make sure my lung capacity, because people don't realize it's like when you're training and you're performing, one of the things they always say is like, oh my goodness, like you got gassed out, you got out of breath. That's your lung capacity. So the one thing you have to calm yourself down when you're competing, but if my lung capacity is not at its optimum, I'll get tired. I won't be able to train. Just like think of it, if you have a runny nose and you're trying to run or you're trying to do an activity, you're unable to. So if you bring that to the highest level, it becomes environmental. And so prior to, I made sure I had, like, I took it, it cleared out. So some of the things it did for me is it just helps your breathing. It helps congestion. So if your lungs are detoxing, because that's what it's doing, it's taking the things out of your cells, brings it to the lungs so the body can get rid of it out. You have to help it process it. And I still got to be able to train. And so as I'm helping my body, I use this tool or this supplement to help my body clean out my lungs and do its job while I'm still able to do my job. And so mucus, something people might talk about that, but this helps you get the mucus out. And the mucus is your body, like your body is doing everything to help you. It's not trying to give you a runny nose to stop your day. It's trying to get things out of your body that are not supposed to be in it. However, can you use a tool to help it help itself? And so mucus, it helps get the mucus out. Another thing that this has really helped me with, I had food intolerance. So I have food allergies, but then food intolerance are things that my body does not tolerate. And so sometimes when you go to a restaurant and you can ask them, you can specify, but sometimes there's cross contaminations. Or sometimes I don't know and I've eaten foods that my body doesn't tolerate. My lungs are trying to get it out. It's like SOS, something came into the system that's not supposed to be here. However, the next day I still got to be able to train, and training helps it, but it doesn't help it when I'm stuffed up. And so it is so good to me. And so if anything, like if the weather changes, I do preempt, like, because when we're going from winter to summer or winter to spring, that change in environment, your body has to get acclimatized to it. When we're going to fall to winter, I preempt, I make sure that it is there for me, and then you're able to use it. So once again, going back to the Olympics, Beijing Olympics, you know what? I made sure preempt prior to, because you want to be your best. And traveling, when you're in the plane, all that recycled air, the first thing that happens is like my respiratory. And then when we got to, so let's give you the backstory of the Olympics. So the Olympics was an incredible experience. And as I said, you preempt and you make sure that you do all your pre-training, your pre-supplements. What can I help to help me? And then you get ready for the games. And so going to Beijing was one of the best experiences just for an Olympic Games for me. I was on the alternate team for the Athens Olympics, which is 2004, the Beijing Olympics 2008, I went, and then 2012, I was on the alternate team for London. And I was in London for the Olympics. And so I have been to more than one Olympic Games, and I actually went to watch the Vancouver Olympics in, Vancouver, Canada. So 2010, I was also at the Olympic Games. And so being in the environment, the Olympics, it's just incredible. So Beijing, what made it so special was the fact that I got to represent the country. And this is the backstory when you go to the Olympic Games. So you fly in to the Olympic Games. We were there for 2 weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks. So you have to get acclimatized, time zone difference, food difference, minerals difference, like, because your body is not used to because at the Olympic Village, you get food. There's not a problem, but it's still the microbiomes and those foods are from that land. So you have to get acclimatized to it. So you get in, you're at the Olympic Games, you're so excited because until you go to the opening ceremonies and perform, you're not an Olympian. So you're an Olympic hopeful until you become an Olympian. And so for me, it was like being on the national team, being on the World Championships, The Olympics happens every 4 years. You may or may not be able to make it again because an injury, something can happen to end your career. And it's a part of the job. And so being able to go was so much fun. We got there, time zone difference. It takes you a few days because it was 12-hour difference. So it takes you a few days of weather difference. The pollution was there. You knew that. But everybody, all your opponents are dealing with the same environment. You just try to help mitigate how much it affects your body. And then so we get there and then you're training because you have training partners that come in with you. So you're there for a job. Let's just be real. Like, you're excited to be there, but you're there to represent the country and you want to be your best. And so we start off by just making sure we get our training in and then the opening ceremonies. Oh my goodness. So the opening ceremonies is like a 9-hour ordeal. You guys watch it on TV for a short minute of time, but first of all, you get into your outfits, all the countries, all the different outfits. You don't want to be the worst dressed. You want to be the best dressed. If you're not, you want to be in the middle. Canada, we were in the middle that year. We looked good. We weren't the worst, but we weren't the best. And so you check out all the other countries to see what they're wearing, to see who's looking the best. And then they organize you by countries and you go to a huge stadium. And then, because it's alphabetical order. So however they're going to line you up to go out in the opening ceremonies, they put you in a holding area. And then, so you see different countries, you see all their outfits. And it's like, and this is when you realize like, oh my goodness, like, you know what? You're set apart. Like you're doing something for your country. You're doing something that it's like the impossible. And you dedicated your time, you did your time, and you got there. And then, of course, you walk through, takes you 8 hours to like you're walking in different places. They do your like, oh, when we're going through the tunnel, we were like singing the Canadian anthem. It made you so proud to be your country person, like Canadian. And then, like, you go waving, you're hoping you're gonna get caught in the camera so your family can see you. And then after that, you're down to work. You're down to work. And then after you finish competing, you still enjoy. Like I went to watch other games, because you're still a fan. It's the Olympic Games. So yeah, so to just round it off, it was just an incredible experience. And I had tools that helped me to perform.
Thank you so much, Ohenaewa. What a wonderful experience, as you said. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge. And what would be your takeaway message for the group today?
So yeah, so with regards to just this product and just how do you utilize tools for your success? So for me, as I said, I use that in the morning. And are you preempting? Because a lot of people are reactive when it comes to, because I'm always like my supplements, what does it do? Like what does it help me to perform to do? What is the tool? What is this difference? Because many people take supplements without knowing why they're taking it. That's number one. Know why you're taking it, know how you use it. And then can you be proactive? Because a lot of people are reactive when it comes to your body, not even sickness, but your body ailing you. Your body doesn't want to be in dysfunction. Help it to function so then you can be a high performer.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing everything. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ohenaewa.
you.
Bye.